thoughts about how she wrote those race scenes? Because I found them thrilling. I won't lie, I did.
The race scenes I thought were compelling. What's interesting was that the horses became the characters.
Yeah.
You know, the focus in the narrative shifted entirely away from all of the people, who the book really is kind of mainly about, to the horses during the races. And you know, one of the things that I thought was so fascinating was the relationship between the jockeys and the horses, and how those were portrayed. Because my whole life, I've seen jockeys as kind of like these remarkably, you know, these remarkable kind of, you know, short in stature people, you know, who get on these horses and do these amazing things. And of course, in the book, virtually everybody in the book is portrayed as some kind of a loser, or, you know, someone who's down on their luck, or someone, you know, who has tried a number of things and not been successful at them.
These are not your top of the line jockeys.
No. So to me, it was interesting how the jockeys were paired with the horses, and how the races were portrayed. You know, up through the climax, which is the final race involving Lord of Misrule, which of course doesn't come out as you would expect it to.
Right, it doesn't come out. Very well done. It doesn't come out as you would expect it to.
Right.
I thought you were gonna like.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Well done. What do you think of the race?
Yeah, it was fascinating because the language is it's an interesting part of the book, and we've been talking about that already, but I feel like for the races it doesn't matter, it just sort of falls away and you're just in it.
Yeah.
And her language is so interesting, but it's still very propelled.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like, I was flipping faster, you know, for sure on those pages.
That's one of the things I actually was fascinated by with the races, and that is that her language does not impede the drama. You know, it could have. It seemed like it could have become too lyrical for there to be pace.
No.
But it doesn't. Yeah, she's able to do both.
I think one of the reasons that happens is that she uses, even as she's shifting from the races, she's also shifting perspectives.
Yeah.
And so we are always seeing the race through somebody's eyes, and so we're sort of emotionally connected to them. But I like the fact that the jockeys were not highlighted very much at all, that they were kind of incidental. They were the ones that seemed almost least connected to the horses, except for Annie, right? So there was a sense that we were always sort of invested in the people who had relationships with the horses, whereas the jockeys kind of often, with the exception of Annie, seem to treat them as more like we'd expect a human-animal sort of distanced relationship, whereas the story really connects people to animals in a really profound way.
It does. That is one of the things, like with the races and the horses becoming characters. I thought some of her descriptions of these horses, I could actually, I felt them. Like I felt their muscle. I felt the breath when they would exhale somehow. I felt the heat on my face, or the softness of their lips and whatnot. I loved her description of the horses. She's clearly, and she has. The truth is, she did live or work for like 3 years on a racetrack in West Virginia. So
those are some of my favorite passages
So.
when she describes rubbing down the horses.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Beautiful.
I might add to that, so I feel like also part of the reason why the race thing is so compelling is because you actually care about more than one horse.
Yeah.
So all the, I was kind of comparing this reading experience to reading like Secretariat or Seabiscuit or whatever, and those are focused on like having the right horse win at the right time, and you care about that horse.
Yeah.
But I don't want any of these horses to get hurt, and like or to not do well, and we care about the characters, we care about those horses, so it gets complicated.
Let me just say, without giving anything away, you don't want anything bad to happen to these horses, but that is unfortunate for you, because bad things do happen to these horses. It's actually a fairly brutal existence. The contrast that she creates with these people that love horses, they could be, rubbing them down, packing clay into their hooves, and taking great care of them. And then, in another instance, putting them shooting them full of drugs so that they can run through the pain. I thought it was
What interested me
brutal.
about that was, again, this relationship with the jockeys. I had always, I had a superficial relationship with, jockeys, or view of jockeys, until I read the book. But what's amazing is the people who truly love the animals then seem to hand the animal over to someone who has a very violent, very arm's length relationship with the animal, to race it.
Right.
The people who do all of the care have virtually nothing to do with the actual
With
racing.
the racing, that's right, that's true.
I had never really viewed it, and frankly, I had thought that the jockey was kind of more involved in the upkeep and the care and the selection of the horse. But here, it's almost as if someone simply comes in from stage left,
Right.
hops on a horse and races it,
Brutalizes it.
Absolutely,
Really trying-
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Right.
and then they're off.
Yeah, it
Playing
seemed-
cards and drinking beer.
Seemed crazy to me.